Hello, sir.
There we go.
How are we doing tonight, Paul? That's what I want to know. Right out of the gate. I don't even
We're,
care.
we're getting into the Halloween spirit, so I've already got you're gonna see the road to Halloween in Paul's alternate sports jerseys. So tonight I got on my Rockford Peaches Jimmy Dugan jersey. That's a good pull, right?
I'm not.
That's a good pull.
That's a phenomenal pull, but I'm not going to say the line from that movie. That
avoid the clap.
Yeah.
Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. That's good advice. It is good advice. You got to avoid the clap. I don't know what you do. That was you, buddy. Okay.
I did absolutely nothing on my end.
Welcome to technical difficulties.
Yes, as always, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag Nation and Bills Mafia. Welcome to the Hashtag Sports presentation of the Buffalo Bills versus the Tennessee Titans post game, where the Buffalo Bills rattled off 34 straight points to close out the game, playing their third team already this season in the AFC South. Interestingly enough, we got stats, scores, overall thoughts, crazy stuff going on. A referee saying, "Yeah, you know what? We watched the replay, and we're gonna give them the flag back." And
we're gonna talk about that. We're
gonna definitely talk about that. So hashtag sports, strap in, put your helmets on, and a happy early Halloween, I guess. With Jimmy Dugan next to me.
That's it's good advice. I'm telling you, good advice.
Well, I could certainly use the money.
And we, of course, want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Rogers Homes, Arizona's #1 realtor. If you're looking for investment property or just looking to maybe relocate, you don't want to mow the grass anymore, Arizona is the place to be. Mr. Rogers Homes, go check out his YouTube channel. Give him a follow over there, subscribe and a like, and keep up on everything real estate in the sunny state of Arizona. So thank you to Sean. Mario, the first half of this game was terrifying football, if I could say it calmly. I think the Bills had run, and I'll go check the play-by-play, but I think they started with a 3 and out. Yep, they started with a 3 and out, then they went 3 and out again, then they went 3 and out again, and then they scored a touchdown only running 3 plays. So in 4 possessions, each one of those only ran 3 actual plays, and one of which was a scoring play for a touchdown, and finally put the Bills into the game because they were down 10-0 at one point. And looking at what I thought at the time versus how it ended, boy, oh boy, was this a different game from halftime after. And I think that's the story of the Bills this year, right? It's just, please God, let's get to halftime.
If they put that meme next to each other, that was the first half and the second half for the Bills, that says you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. That's what the Buffalo Bills team is at this point. You mentioned it on last week's stream. The Buffalo Bills have only allowed 1 rushing and 1 receiving touchdown in the second half of games this year in 7 games. Now, Paul, I think there might be a reason for that. And here's the thing. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Bills just won by 24 points. Sure. The last time we had a big victory game for the Buffalo Bills where they end up winning handedly, I believe it was the Jacksonville game. And we even said, we try to pick out objectively things that the Bills could work on. And we're going to get to that in our Fix It or Forget It segment as well later tonight on the show. But I just want to put this out there for all the Bills Mafia and all of Hashtag Nation. In the 5 victories the Buffalo Bills have won. Yeah. Can't tell time. Nope.
That was my fault. That was my fault.
So in the 5 victories the Buffalo Bills have had this year, they've come against teams that have a 290 winning percentage.
Yeah.
And they have scored 32 points per game with an 18-point margin of victory.
Yeah. Pretty
bad teams you should beat. You should beat bad teams. I understand that.
Yeah.
Against versus their 2 losses. You ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
700 winning percentage. They've only scored 15 points per game and have lost by 2 touchdowns, an average of 2 touchdowns in those games. Obviously, we know the Houston one was a debacle, coaching blunder, and Baltimore. It was just a game where you didn't have enough horses, and you just didn't have enough stuff up front. And not making excuses, Baltimore played a great game. Baltimore looks phenomenal this year. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things.
You're just praying for a Derrick Henry flame out there right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, Paul, I want to ask you this. I was told this a long time ago.
Did you just hit the gong?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
The thing that I was told a long time ago as a young man, when you're the best of the worst and the worst of the best, you know what you are? You're average.
Okay, sure.
Many people touted this as a Bills rebuild year.
Yeah.
So am I too far off in trying to say, listen, they're beating these teams. They're 5-2. That's great. You only play who's on your schedule. And they've destroyed some of these teams that they're playing, but they're bad football teams, Paul. These are Titans are bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you kept him in for a long time, right? And that's the scary part is you kept a bad football team hanging around for a pretty long time until you got to halftime. And there's going to come a point where you're not going to be able to make those adjustments because you've got the Chiefs coming, you've got the 49ers coming. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest proponent of the Rams because they're 1-4 right now, but the fact of the matter is that's still a team that can go. So and then you got the Lions right after that. So, I mean, you've got a 4-game stretch of really, really competent football teams that you're going to be playing with competent coaching staffs, and competent players. And they're not going to let them hang around for a half. They're going to take that first half that you give them and they're going to dominate you. And then, they're just going to hope to hold on enough for the second half. And the fact of the matter is Buffalo's been probably the best second half team in football all season. Right? Like they've been the best second half team in football, but you can't just simply depend on that. Now, a lot of super positives here, right?
Yes,
a lot
absolutely.
of super positives.
Yeah.
So let's roll back a little bit. Let's talk about that. So Amari Cooper walks in 5 targets, 4 receptions, 66 yards. First reception as a Buffalo Bill goes for a touchdown. And then one thing that I was kind of hoping to see, right, was with the emergence of Amari Cooper into the offense, that Khalil Shakir would actually get actual Khalil Shakir type targets, right?
And he did.
7 for 7, 65 yards, 9.3 yards per reception, a long of 20. And Keon Coleman, who I thought might take a step back because of Amari Cooper, 7 targets, 4 receptions, $125. Like, good grief, man. Like that. But that's who you should be spreading the ball to. Like before, we'd see this Bills offense with 3 targets to Mac Hollins or 5 targets to Mac Hollins and then 4 targets to Keon Coleman and 4 targets to Khalil Shakir. Nope, the order went Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Amari Cooper in that order. 7, 7, 6, and 5. And as far as targets, the only person that had any targets at all was Dawson Knox. Had 3 targets. I don't even know if those were all real targets. I think there was a couple of them that were just like not real targets that just kind of get credited to Knox. Everybody else only had 1 target. That's the Bills offense that you need, right? You got to get Matt Collins the hell out of being a top 3 in targets. You got to Curtis Samuel the hell off the field. And you did that today, right? And Bills dominated in the second half.
It's weird too now that you have, it seems like, because let's be honest, he hasn't done it this year, but Curtis Samuel is still a viable threat in the slot. He's not the best guy. He's not the worst guy either in the league.
Right.
He still could be a viable threat for you in the slot. So if you want to go in a 4 wide receiver set and you want to go pure wide receivers and you take Kincaid out, you literally could put Samuel and Shakir in the slots. You put Cooper and Coleman on the outsides. That's pretty dangerous 4 wide receiver set, if you don't mind my saying. But I think the target share was what you expected. Now, I thought coming into this week, I was very, very skeptical. I'm like, okay, Amari Cooper can get separation. He had like 2.7 yards per separation per like route this year, playing in Cleveland in purgatory. But I started to say, that doesn't mean other guys are going to have separation, but the mere presence of Cooper and how you have to adjust opens up guys. Except for that touchdown was pure Cooper. Because he looked like Allen alerted to it, saw that there wasn't a safety in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Cooper looked over and said, I don't know what the play is. Like you saw him shrug.
Yeah.
I think it was at Coleman. And he just went off the line, got in the end zone. Allen's like, I'm going to him.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that's really important to call out early is the longest drive the Bills had was 10 plays, 59 yards, took 5 minutes off. They were already up 17 points at this point. Or I'm sorry, they were up 14 points at this point. That was a field goal in the 4th to go up 27-10, right? Prior to that, their longest drive, 9 plays when it was 17-10, also for a field goal. And other than that, it was 6 plays, 3 plays. Like the Bills weren't really stringing drives together today, but did they, in the second half, did they have to? Like Tennessee gave it to you early on downs, and that changed the game. I know Tennessee was saying we're going to try and put this game away now because we don't think, we think we could, put our foot on the throat of the Bills. They're down. Things aren't looking good for them. We're getting the ball. They go down and they go out on downs in their first possession of the second half. And to me, that changed the game. That's when things went bad for them.
Completely. Because it's a 3-point game at that point. You're saying, okay, we don't want to try to go down and get up 10. We're going to deflate them a little bit, because it's one thing to go into a game and say, okay, we got this kind of a game plan that we're going to try to attack this team, and then they go down and score, and you're like, okay, we got to make some adjustments. Maybe they didn't come out, they study film too. Let's see what's going on.
Right.
But when you come out in the second half and you get steamrolled, that's not good. So the Tennessee Titans were thinking, let's try to steamroll them in the second half. Let's start this game like we started. Let's start the half like we started the game. And they didn't. And that was definitely a turning point in the game where momentum swung over to Buffalo, because then they had their things figured out on offense, where they're like, okay, we're running the ball at a pretty good clip. I mean, they ended up today 3.7 yards as a team, but Ray Davis had 8.2, James Cook had 2.7. And you look at Josh Allen, he mercifully ran the ball 3 times for 1 yard. Like, when have you seen that? But once that element of the offense gets unleashed, I mean, like I said before, they're beating bad teams.
Josh running, you mean?
Josh running, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there, because I know Ryan wants to have a debate with me on the running back situation in Buffalo, right? Because I definitely feel like Ray Davis has certainly made his mark the last 2 weeks, and while James Cook is certainly dynamic and explosive, I think a lot of fans are really warming up to the idea of Ray Davis. And I'm not sure if it's just the jersey number, right? Like old 22 just feels comfy, right? Like warm apple pie, maybe that's just it.
Good old Freddie.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So, but Ray Davis has looked really dependable. Now, he's not a third down back yet, right? He's still got a long way to go there. You got pass pro you got to worry about. You got to find
3 down, not third down. You're right.
Right. No, I mean, as a third down back, right? Because right now Ty Johnson is taking that role, right? As your third down back. So I don't think he's going to step into that role just yet. I think that role's still reserved for Ty Johnson, but I think Ray Davis has it long before the season's over. He's just simply too effective. You can't keep him off the field. And right now you have the healthy excuse of, well, we got to make sure that, James Cook is healthy. So we're going to lean on Ray Davis right now. That rope's only so long before you can't keep him off the field. And you're getting real close to, you almost can't keep Ray Davis off the field right now. And it's covering up the Josh Allen isn't going to, destroy you on the ground dynamic the Bills have not had all season, because he hasn't really been healthy. And when that does get unleashed, Mark, you're absolutely right. The offense completely changes. So do you feel like with the addition of Cooper and now just the waiting game for Josh to be ready to do those things, do you think is that what you're going to ride? Is just the wave of that?
I think you could, but against better teams, it's going to come down to coaching, and we've already been down that tragic road many times before already. I mean, you talk about Allen right now. The run game really isn't a part of his game right now. He's purely just trying to survive out there and make sure his hand doesn't get any worse than it is. Which we've said it many times here on #Sports. It's broken, guys. His hand's broken. Hand's
absolutely broken.
We're not messing around anymore. The fact that he was on the injury report this week for the first time tells you something. You know what I mean? But you look at what you have now. You have options as far as your offense goes. I mean, obviously Davis. We like to talk about running backs in the offense where you don't need to change too much of your offensive philosophy when one guy comes in for the next. Like, you still don't need to do that. But Davis is a much powerful runner than Cook is. Cook is more of a slasher. So, he's a one cut and let's go. You know what I mean? But Davis could get those tough yards for you in November and December when you may need them. But like you said, he's a rookie. This guy's played in a few places. So the ability to become a third down back and not a 3 down back, there's two different sayings.
So two different things. That's right.
Yeah. So, third down back, you're going to have to do pass pro a lot more. And, if you could, you may have to swing out in the flat. A lot of times they had him line up behind the guard. And a lot of times you do that is for extra pass pro. You're not even trying to fool anybody in the fact that, we're passing here, but I'm going to put him right there to meet the blitz right at the line.
Right.
All right. and it helps your offensive line out as well. So, I think with that, it just opens up more options for your offense. Cooper opens up options for other guys. He ran a seam route, and then Dalton Kincaid came underneath it and ended up catching a first down pass. And that hadn't happened yet this year.
I know.
You know what I mean?
So, that's right.
I think it was like a 3rd and 8 or something.
And Josh Allen at this point, 10 interceptions, still the only QB not to throw an intercept, or 10 touchdown passes this year, still the only QB not to throw an interception. With I think more than 20 pass attempts is the stat. I don't remember exactly what it is. But when you look at Josh's numbers this season, Jacksonville, he threw for 263 yards. I think that was that the most he threw for all year was 263 against Jacksonville? I think it might have been. It was. Yeah, 263 was the most he had thrown for as far as yardage goes in the 47-10 shellacking of the Jaguars. And today he was 323, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just smacking it around, right? And I guess sort of there's still some overhanging concerns just to be aware of. So when you pull back and you look at the Bills as far as 3rd down today, they were 3 of 10 on 3rd downs.
I know.
Like you don't survive.
6 in the first half.
Yeah, you don't survive that way. You gotta do better on 3rd downs. But Buffalo's been really poor at 3rd downs, and Amari Cooper is supposed to help that, right? Like
absolutely. Yeah.
That's the idea there, that that's supposed to help you. But also getting out of 2 tight end sets in 3rd down situations. Get out of 2 tight end sets. Let's stop pretending like we're a 2 tight end offense. We are not. We're not a 2 tight end offense. Dawson Knox is not that guy. You cannot depend on it. He's not a part of the offense at this point anymore. You just have to move past that. And like Kincaid garners enough targets today to be a viable threat as well as he should be. You can't just do death by 1,000 paper cuts every week. It's fine every now and again, but you can't do death by 1,000 paper cuts every single game. And that's the way the Buffalo offense was. But Tony Pollard, I was expecting to see a healthy dose of Tony Pollard today. 16 carries quickly out of the game once you get into the second half because Tennessee just wasn't able to keep up. And Buffalo's pass rush, good grief. Like defensive tackle pass rush today looked great. Rousseau is looking like a defensive end in a contract year, right? Like everything
he always does.
Yeah, everything you'd want. And this was the first game since Vaughn's been out. Where I was like, man, you know what? It was fine today. We didn't need Vaughn, but
no.
Yeah, I think there are definitely times where you did need him. The Vaughn that you're getting this year, right? Like, they've got him on a snap count, right? Like they're still being careful with him. They're trying to use him in situations, but Vaughn out there makes a huge difference. In this game, you just didn't have to have it. Against the Jets, there were times where I was like, man, we really could use Vaughn right now.
Yeah, because you can hide certain things better with Vaughn, and you could probably do a twist or a stun inside with Vaughn. He's going to garner enough attention where you could bring a backside nickel blitz if you have Vaughn on the other side trying to go one-on-one. You know what I mean? So, but the problem is trying to get Rodgers not to recognize it quick enough. That's the thing. That's the thing you got to worry about. As much as he's a polarizing figure in the NFL. For a lot of different reasons, that guy can read a defense and he can cut you up if you tell your hand a lot really quick. So, Paul is he's still on this crusade, man.
What, me? What?
No, you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Paul Berg. Yeah. Dawkins gave up another lovely sack. So I think it's probably time to kind of look at it, look down the road. The Seahawks with NFL leading passer Geno Smith. Again, in what universe am I living in?
What year is it?
Yeah, well, and who would have thought that, this deep into the season, Josh Allen would not be in the top 5 of leading passers, right? It's Geno Smith, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, which in Atlanta is surprising. I'm just going to be honest there.
Well, he had the one game where he threw for like 450.
Yeah.
Let's take that with a grain of salt here. You know what I mean?
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, it's fine. You look at some of those teams that have had very big losses, like very big deficits in games. So they had to throw and get back into it. You know what I mean? So Bills don't really have that, except for the Baltimore game. They haven't had a really huge deficit. And then when they do, and by the time they did have a huge deficit in Baltimore, they're like, go ahead, Mitch. We're not going to risk Josh out there against this team, just a stat pad. You know what I mean?
gonna beckon a name from a while ago. Damar Hamlin with a very Jarius Bird interception today.
I was having a good broadcast until now.
How many times did Jarius Bird intercept a pass that was just happened to hit him? How many times? Right? Like,
what do you mean?
Jarius Bird
had like 10 3 and the 1.
He had like 10 interceptions the one year, and you're like, I think he worked for 2 of them.
I think he actually read 2 of those and actually went up and got them.
Yeah.
No.
But it's with that being said, I got to be honest, I'm getting a little tired of DeMar, right? He's a guest in run coverage. He just looks late to everything.
He does.
And he looks timid on everything. And that's not, I remember DeMar's rookie season, and I remember him being a very bold player. I'm not seeing that, and I'm not sure what that is, but he looks like he's playing slower.
The guy died, Paul.
I know it's a running
gag. Is it okay if he's one step slower than he was? Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, I personally...
Come on.
The dynamic that I'm missing is from that safety position, because you've got Taylor Rapp, and he's a bowling ball, right? He is a bowling ball for you. I'm missing that defensive back who's going to hunt routes. And I don't see DeMar as hunting routes. He kind of like he works around the route, like he's in the area, but he plays like a very, very zone-based safety. He doesn't take chances like that. And I'm not sure why it feels like he's not. But just watching him, he looks so timid.
Yeah, I will say that obviously he was the one that gave up the touchdown today. He was just late to the ball. Last week, he was bailed out by a Taylor Rapp hit, which he was late to the ball again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I guess it's one of those things where you've been spoiled. We've been spoiled as Bills fans for the past 7 years. We got to see 21 and 23 back there. Yeah. And I don't know how much of that stuff, you could be a great safety in this system. If you're a heck of an athlete and you got, you do your job, you can get a lot of tackles. You can make a Pro Bowl maybe. Mm-hmm. But to be an all pro, you have to have unbelievable instincts in this and that's what Poyer and Hyde had. Hyde was a ball hawk. You know what I mean? Yeah. Poyer, when Hyde went down, had to be a ball hawk. He had to shift his game up a little bit. But that's not what you have with Hamlin. You have a guy who essentially is still learning the position, for McDermott. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got to remember, Hyde and Poyer, they were in the league for a bunch of years before they came to the Bills.
Well, and, perhaps, this is also just to throw it out there, right? Like the Bills have historically been strong in that position.
Always.
Like I can name a lot of safeties, even through the drought years. They were strong at that position. Now, mind you, they were getting thrown on a lot. Bills weren't very good in the drought years, so you got real comfortable with learning the safeties' names because you saw them an awful lot. But the Bills have typically been blessed with pretty good safety play. Now, look at that. What was this? Good old Dean Marlowe. There it is.
My boy.
Yeah.
Bring him back. Yeah. I don't care. Bring him back.
Oh, trade for him again?
No, I don't care. Give Atlanta the Lee Smith pick.
How do you know that he's in Atlanta? I didn't even know he's still in the league.
No, I don't even think he's in the league. That was I was referring to the pick they gave to Atlanta. They gave Lee Smith to him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To Atlanta for like a 7th rounder and Dean Marlowe or something like that. I can't remember.
So looking forward, super pumped about where this Bills team is going. But there's still a bunch of things that have to get cleaned up. And, I'm not sure because it feels like in the first half, like the game planning isn't really there. Like that prep isn't there. And this is something that we don't really talk about. But when you change offensive coordinators, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Joe Brady probably has his staff now as opposed to working with Dorsey's staff last year. Right. So if you pull back and look at you pull back and look at the staff from last year's staff to this year. I haven't done the comparison, but when you inherit a job, you inherit the staff, right? You inherit who's there. Yeah. And then in that first offseason, you're like, okay, let's figure out what we're going to do here, right? Like, where am I comfortable? Where do I think we need to improve? Who do I know that can do the job better than is being done right now? And I got to be honest with you, Bills have not been good prepping for games. It's obvious in that first half of football.
No, the script is not. I know you want to set up plays.
Yeah.
And there's certain plays you want to try to run in order to set up plays for other things. It doesn't seem like it. Like, what are you setting up? If you get stuffed, run stuff, twice, and then you have an incomplete pass on third down, did you really set up to play action? You didn't.
Yeah.
You had 0 yards on it.
And it felt like typical Bills football of, I'm going to, like on first down, because it went 3 out on a bunch, right? It felt like they kept trying to use the run to get into third and manageable. But this is a team that's been bad on third downs this year. Getting to third and manageable it's not a sign for success here for you this year.
No, it hasn't. And their third and manageable is 3rd and 1 with Allen getting thrown through the line and having his helmet ripped off. That's pretty much what success is for the Buffalo Bills. But like you said, Paul, against bad teams, you can get away with that.
Yeah.
Against these good teams, you can't. And they're going to come down and make you pay for it.
Right.
So, I know the Buffalo Bills had an incredibly slow start. I wonder, speculation time, I wonder if the Amari Cooper signing was more of a warning for Sean or Joe. So is it more of a warning for Sean McDermott or Joe Brady? Because you got to remember, and we know this, #Nation Bills Mouth. You guys know this. This happens all the time in the NFL. When the coach feels a little bit of heat on themselves, what do? You knock down a coordinator first. He's already gotten rid of both of them. You got to think about it this way. Technically, he did get rid of Frazier, and he took it on himself. And then he had bubble gum and duct tape to try to hold that defense together last year. Then he fired Dorsey. He has no more bullets in the gun for himself. If it fails, it's on him now.
Yeah, the shield isn't there anymore.
That's
you're
absolutely
right about that.
Because I don't think Pagula or Bean want to derail a young guy's career, as in Brady, who seems like a very smart offensive mind. But when you have 17 out there, it's easy to be a very smart offensive mind. But and it's just some things aren't going. So is it, hey, you guys didn't give me the kind of resources I wanted. You have Samuel now. You're not doing anything with him. That's a guy that you worked well with down in Carolina. You're not doing anything with him. Yeah. Now they went out. Hey, we went out and got you Cooper. Okay, it cost us a draft pick, but we went out. It cost a couple draft picks, but we went out and got him. You got to do something with it now. Is that more for Sean or is it for Brady? I'm curious. I'm curious about to hear the chats. Like, who do you think? Who do you think does that put more pressure on? Sean McDermott or Joe Brady? I
mean, I see it, I guess, a little bit differently there, Mar, right?
Okay.
Because like I look at it and say, well, that puts, you walked into the season knowing what you were going to have, right? You traded away Diggs and you walked in with Shakir Coleman, who you got in the second round after trading down. So again, you talk about value at the position, and Buffalo again was bargain shopping at the wide receiver position. And you said, listen, we're just gonna try and make it work. So to me, it's an indictment on Bean. Now, yes, it worked out in the short term that you got Cooper at near nothing. You got him for $800,000 for the rest of the season because the Browns knew that they were probably going to end up having to trade him, right? So the Browns reworked his deal at the start of the year and made it so that if they had to get out of the Cooper deal, they could and at least get something for it, right? Now, listen, Cooper got out of town at the right time. Deshaun Watson goes down with an Achilles today, right? So Cooper got out of there at the right time. And as far as that is concerned, right, I think that's more of an indictment on Bean saying I know we didn't have the money to spend on receivers because we had to take like $30 million in dead cap for Stephon Diggs, but I'm addressing that now, right? I get the lesson. The lesson is we tried, it didn't go well enough, so we're going to address it. But they got wildly fortunate because most teams don't prepare to trade high-level players. Look at Devonta Adams. Devonta Adams is going to kneecap the Jets for the next 2 years, right? Kneecap the Jets for the next 2 years. Buffalo is just in and out with Cooper, and this is a former, $20 million a year player. Like, this is a high-level player you got for absolutely nothing because the Browns are a disaster of an organization. Like, the fact that Cooper hadn't been traded to somebody else, like, I don't understand. How did the Browns give it up for only a third round pick, right? Like at $800,000, how is he not a chief? right? Like, how is he not? How is well? I'm just serious, right? You look at the other organizations. How is he not with the Packers? How is he not with any of these other NFC teams that are wide receiver needy that are in the race for $800,000 on a third round pick? Like, you look at Buffalo's first in the division at the time. That third round pick is almost a fourth round pick. Like, how are you valuing this trade?
Yeah, I don't. It might have just been they have some familiarity with each other because they've traded before. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, didn't they give Wyatt Teller to
Cleveland? Yeah, we gave Wyatt Teller to Cleveland.
Okay, is this the payback?
It's not a make right. No, come on. You know how many players ago that was?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying Cooper probably looked around the league and, like, with the exception of Kansas City, I can't think of too many teams where he'd be the number 1A alpha dog walking in the door.
Yeah.
So that could have been one thing where it's like his agent's like, listen, you go there, you go there for the year, you show out, and then we can get you another deal. You're going to be 31 next year, so it's not going to be easier for me. So go to a place where you're the number 1 alpha dog. You look at Green Bay, they have all these young upstart wide receivers. What's he going to do? Does he want to take a Stephon Diggs role in that offense? Because, like, you look at CJ Stroud and what's going on in Houston. He didn't have a very good game today, but you see all these young guns there, and Diggs had a stat line of 5 for 23 today.
Yep.
Like, I don't think Cooper wanted that. I think he said, listen, I want to play with a quarterback that, in a team with a winning record, all this other stuff. And you have to realize something too, and just kind of a little bit of a sidebar. I started this discussion talking about, was there more pressure on Sean or was there more pressure on Joe Brady? Mm-hmm. And I started to think, well, if there was a more experienced play caller, he could do more with less that you came into the season with, that Bean came into the season with. And then you look at Kansas City. Now, Kansas City fans will tell you this. They are 3 plays away from being 2-3 right now.
Sure.
3 plays away from being 2-3. And they have Xavier Worthy, old Travis Kelce. You got Mecole Hardman there. You don't really have a number 1 alpha dog there. And even Reed is struggling with Mahomes. Mahomes is leading the league in interceptions now. He has 2 today. So you look at it from that respect, even a seasoned play caller would have trouble with a bunch of number 3s and number 2s. You know what I mean? If you just strung them together. What do you think Joe Brady's going to do? You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see that dynamic. But the reason why, obviously, the Chiefs are 5-0 is because Spagnuolo is a wizard on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, and the Chiefs have had some pretty nasty injury problems, right? So, like, you're starting Kareem Hunt as your running back at this point. You're just, again, available free agent who's once worn your helmet. So.
But only Reed can make Pacheco relevant. A 7th rounder from Rutgers? Are you serious right now?
That sounds like a Patriots pick, doesn't it? That sounds like a pick that Belichick would make.
He's turning into Belichick.
Or Belichick's dog. Remember when Belichick's dog was a thing at the drafts?
He's trolled the NFL so many times.
He sure did. And pulling back and looking at the Bills' options, right? When before Cooper was on the table, we had mentioned Tennessee was going to want to get out of DeAndre Hopkins. He had his first. I'm pretty confident in saying this without having to fact check it. I believe this is the only game in his career where he finished the game with negative yardage in receiving.
Yep, 1 for -2. He was targeted once.
One time. Yeah,
he's out. He's going somewhere.
Cooked. He's either out or he's cooked. It's one or the other.
But how can you tell in that offense? You can't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't.
I don't think he's cooked. Remember when everyone wanted him for like $12-14 million in Buffalo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is what you would have had.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And instead, all you had to do is just wait for the Browns to do Brownsy things, and all of a sudden, Amari Cooper's on your team. And I think Cooper is a different animal than Diggs, right? Because Mario, you and I haven't had any time to talk about this, so I'm glad we're getting a chance to now. But Cooper is a different animal than Diggs in this offense, because where Diggs was going to find those routes of just shaking open, Cooper's just a bigger bodied guy, so he's going to play those depths differently, right? He's going to play the sideline way differently than Diggs did, because Diggs really found a lot of effectiveness in the slot. And Cooper, he ain't going in the slot. You're not seeing Cooper in the slot.
I saw him in there a few times.
I mean, you might see him in a little bit today just for ease of getting him on the field, right?
Yeah, I think the Buffalo Bills wanted to see how Tennessee reacted to him. I really think that's what they wanted to do, and see if other teams might react to him the same way. But if you look at it, I totally agree. And guys, we're talking about he's like an inch and a half taller and like 20 pounds heavier. So he's just a more physical guy anyway.
Sure.
He'll muscle into the zone, and he'll take the ball and he'll go with the Diggs, unless he has a clear path. He's sliding down or he's hitting dirt. Cooper's not like that. Cooper will literally muscle and play. And it was like one of those things where I have still not heard the guy talk. So
yeah, he's very humble. Very humble guy. He's there to do his job, win football games, and then go back and watch more film and do the dirty work.
Which is perfect for the offense that he's in. I mean, he may loosen up a little bit, but it's one of those things where this guy came in with all business, because even in the career that he's had, he's 30 years old. We all know that number in the NFL. He's 30. He's been on the Raiders, who weren't very good. He was on Dallas for a little bit. He did really well. Now he knows he's on the later stages of his career, even though he's a very proficient receiver still. He knows he can't mess up now. You can't mess up.
Well, this is the last contract. You know what I mean? Like you go up and you set yourself up to hit free agency one more time on a 3-year deal for a lot of money. Like, this is your chance to hit that. Now, again, Buffalo's going to have a bunch of salary cap come through next year for you because Diggs comes off the books. And does that go to Cooper? Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is you don't have to pay Shakir. You don't have to pay Coleman. You don't have to pay Kincaid. You don't have to pay Ray Davis. You can get rid of Knox. You're not paying Ty Johnson. Mac Hollins, I don't even care what happens. I'll just be honest, right? They make Mac Hollins every year, man. Just a tall
Is it because
receiver,
he walks to the facility barefoot? Is you got something against a guy that doesn't want to wear shoes?
No, the man had what, 30? His highest was like 30 receptions one year. I'm just saying, there's a lot of Mac Hollins.
I know you don't like long hair. I figured it out now. This is why we don't talk anymore. It's because you.
Oh, please, yeah. There's the hair. That's the issue. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But going into Cooper's skill set, I think what would happen was Diggs was a player who didn't always win off the line right away. So Josh would have to buy time until Diggs won the route with leverage. Cooper's not like Cooper's going to win routes right away.
Yeah.
He's going to win routes really early.
I saw that route, the touchdown that he caught. No one else was open, Paul. When they showed the wide shot, I looked at everything but Cooper. Yeah. I knew I was going to see that replay 700 times tonight. So I looked at everybody else but Cooper. And the film obviously comes out Tuesday, but nobody was open. Allen was going to have to run that ball. That's what Cooper does for you in the short interim, is the fact that Allen won't have to run as much. He ran 3 times today just out of attrition. Yeah, but he doesn't have to run. Is that a scary thought for any team coming to play Buffalo? Is that Allen does not, with the addition of Cooper, now we're not saying it's the number 1 receiver in the NFL, but with the addition of Cooper in this offense and the players that you had already, he elevates the guys around him because he draws attention. But this offense, without Allen having to run, can still beat you.
Yeah.
Is that terrifying for some teams?
We're going to kind of look at splits here real quick, right? From the offense, because you can just look at the rushing yardage and just know that on the whole, the year, none of it belongs to Josh Allen, right? Like, pretty much the way the year's gone, you just look at the team's rushing performance and almost none of it is Josh Allen. So running the football, right? In the third quarter, the Bills are averaging 7 yards per rush. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Excuse me, sir?
Yeah, that's crazy, Tom.
What is this? This 2014 CJ Spiller year? 2011, whatever it was.
Now, the opposite side of that is in the fourth quarter, totally different tune, right? But Buffalo, typically in the fourth quarter, they've been winning a lot of these games by quite a bit. So you don't really expect the yardage to be all that great. So 3.28 yards per carry. But on the whole, 7 yards an attempt in running the football in the third quarter. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Now, I guess the part of me that is most concerned about this is I think it's been proven the last few weeks that it's not too hard to shut down the Bills running game when a team really wants to. Right. And that's what Baltimore did. Baltimore said, we're not going to let you run and we're going to hold the hell out of you on all your routes. We're not going to give you an inch. We're going to make sure you cannot run the football, and we're going to make you find windows. Right. We're going to blanket you, and we're just going to make you find windows. We're going to come at you with a bunch of pressure. We're going to make sure that you can't run the football. And, I don't know if James Cook or Ray Davis are really prepared for that kind of football, right? That's Ray Davis maybe a little bit more, but James Cook, he's not that kind of player, right? Like you can't expect him to get dirty for you like that. It's not in the cards. So if Buffalo's able to get Josh Allen running the football post bye week, that's kind of the way I look at it, right? Is post bye week.
You're talking about
that's a long time from now.
You got to get.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Those tough yards they got to get?
Yeah, exactly. When it's second down, 2nd and 10, and you could carve out, 6 yards and make it 3rd and 4, right? You're not doing that right now. You're not doing that right now. You can't. And teams they're just going to try and shut down the run. That's their goal at this point. They're going to try and make sure that the Bills can't run the football. Bills still ran the football pretty well, but they also won by, they had 34 unanswered points. Like
at a certain point in the game, you could turn it off and you can.
Yeah.
I wish they had stats like that where like somebody somewhere has to have stats somewhere where it's like meaningful snaps. Because after a while, it's like, okay, if the Bills ran the ball out, and like Ray Davis has like 62 yards, on the final drive, like, hey man, why didn't you get the ball more? Well, it was a 40-point game. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah, right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's and Buffalo has perennially been one of the top rushing teams in the NFL, but that wasn't from the running back position. So
no, a lot of it was Josh. A lot of it.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look over the past 4 or 5 years, I think I don't know. I have the numbers in front of me exact, but it was close to 70 to 80% of the Buffalo Bills' total offensive production was number 17. Like, he does a lot of it, guys.
Yeah. And again, like you're walking into Seattle. Seattle is a very good football team. They can run the football. Obviously Bernard went out for a little bit today. That's concerning. You don't want to see that
updated, by the way.
Yeah. You don't want to see that. Balin Spector went in for a snap and instantly got thrown on for like a 22-yard pass against the tight end whose last name I can't pronounce. Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Is that who it was? I'm not on that page. Hold on, let me look back at it.
Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it. It was fascinating to see them go to 3 linebacker sets. I was happy to see them actually do it for once. They took what? You said, huh? You don't like the linebacker sets?
No, I was going the other way with it. I'll wait till you're done though.
Oh, okay. I was happy to see them run a 3 linebacker set. You got to put stuff like that on film, right?
Yes.
You got to do it. You have to be able to do it. But Balin Spector got thrown on just like absolutely right away. So they didn't miss it. Like it's pretty obvious when you're pulling, when you're pulling your nickel
absolutely,
off the field. You put Balin Spector on. It's like, hey guys, there's a big one out here. There's a big one. We got one. We got one
right here. This guy, let's get him.
Yeah.
No, I was going to go the other way with it when they went dime and they only had Bernard as the only linebacker out there, and I looked and I saw 39 out there, and I get nervous when Cam Lewis is in the game for any reason. Like I do. I get nervous. He's your dime corner. How far off has Elam fell? Like, can he even tackle at this point? Like, can he do anything for you? He's on your special teams. That's it. Former first-round cornerback drafted. Trying to do the same stuff they did with Trey White. You were the 4th corner off the board. They thought they stole you. And he can't even get on as a nickel corner. Like, how bad is it?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to bring down everybody. We got 70 beautiful people here in the chat that have been riding with us all night. And we're just trying to be objective about this team, guys. We want to try to get more value for this team and have this team be a success for a number of years. That's probably what Bean's idea is too. But the point is this. I mean, you had to give up a 3rd-round pick for Amari Cooper. You already had an extra 2nd. Now that pretty much cements the fact that they may not move that 2nd-round pick now.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
And
And
if Minnesota keeps playing the way they are, it's going to be almost a third round pick.
yeah, basically, right.
Yeah.
And looking forward, Kenneth Walker had a real nice day today.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. So they've got 4 very viable targets in Seattle between DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, and then Noah Fant, right? And that's not even counting the help that they can get out of the backfield from the running backs. Not a huge thing, right? The running backs combined so far this year have combined for 47 targets, right? Which, I mean, Metcalf has more than that just by himself. So the running backs aren't a huge help there. And Noah Fant isn't a huge help at the tight end position. So
weird, right?
I know he's so talented.
So athletic, dude.
I know he's so talented, but there's something's up there, right? Like
yes,
something's
absolutely.
up. Because everywhere he's gone, he hasn't hit on the potential that he had, and at this point is never going to hit on that potential. But Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN give you some really, really challenging things to deal with. JSN is a big, lanky receiver who can get on top of you real fast. Decaf is just a bully, and Tyler Lockett's a snake out of the slot. Right when he's in the slot, he's an absolute snake. So Buffalo's got their hands full next week.
Yeah, I would. Did you mention Jackson Smith and Jigba? Yeah,
JSN.
No?
Yeah,
oh,
JSN.
Okay.
Yeah,
he is sneaky. That guy, he's the guy I worry about. Mm-hmm. But you also have to know that there's a little bit of familiarity there with Seattle because the leading tackler. Did you see it?
No. Oh, Terrell Dodson.
Terrell Dodson.
Oh, Terrell Dodson's the leading tackler. Hey, look at that.
So he may get introduced to James Cook, or maybe already starting to spill the beans about what goes on for the Bills off. That's what always worried me. I mean, people wanted to talk all the time about. Now the game was so far out of reach, it didn't matter. But you wanted to talk about why was Balen Spector the starting middle linebacker against Jacksonville? Well, he played for 3 years with Trevor Lawrence. Who else better than to see his tells at the line of scrimmage than Balen Spector? So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to manipulate Dodson in and out of that offense. He probably knows what all the tells are for Josh Allen. So there may be more or less motion going on next week, but you're going to be in Seattle, which is going to be, it's always a tough place to play. I don't care what year or what kind of season they're having. Those fans get up and they get ready. You know what I mean? So,
well, and let's look at Seattle's production so far. Now, obviously, we're not counting the game that's the game from today, but Seattle so far has had 7 rushes over 20 yards for the season, 9 total touchdowns on the ground. Again, excluding the game today. How many rushes more than 20 yards does Buffalo have as a team?
5.
2.
2? Are they both Allen?
Well,
no, one's Davis. One's got to be Davis, right?
And one's Cook. Again, not counting.
Yeah,
today.
Cook against Miami. Miami.
Not counting today. Now, Buffalo has had 11 touchdowns on the ground. Now, receiving, a little bit of a different circumstance, right? Buffalo's had 23 big plays. Again, they constitute big plays as receptions over 20 yards. 12 touchdowns. Seattle, on the other hand, has had 14 plays over 20 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's it. Right.
Wow.
So very they don't score a ton, right? Seattle really does. They don't score a ton. They're going to come down and they're just going to keep they're not going to go 3 and out on you, right? That's no, it. They're not going to go 3 and out on you. They're going to throw a lot. They're going to throw an awful lot, but in the red zone, they're just not a very effective team in the red zone as far as passing touchdowns. I can't say they're super effective in the red zone running the football either. They've only got 9 touchdowns running the football compared to Buffalo's 11. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to be a team that gives you all you can handle because they don't do anything amazing. They just do everything pretty good.
And those are some of the most dangerous teams you have to play because there's not one guy, there's not one element you take away from them. Like you talked about Geno Smith being leading the NFL in passing yards. Well, he's got 6 interceptions as well. That's talk about a drive killer. I mean, he could have been thrown all the way up and down the field. I'm interested to see the zone scheme that goes on with the Buffalo Bills. I don't think will work against Seattle. I think you're going to have to go man up, but it's going to be interesting to see if they put Benford or Douglas on DK.
I don't know because
they're both physical as hell. So
see to me, right? I think I don't know if it really matters who you put on DK, right? I think it's more you're got to leverage you got to leverage JSN out. So how
yeah,
do you leverage JSN out? You probably put Douglas on
Taryn,
JSN. See,
Taryn.
I put Douglas on JSN.
So you
Uh,
putting him on Lockett then? You putting
I'm
Taryn Johnson on Lockett?
I don't think you have a choice. Yeah, I don't think you have a
Oh, I
choice.
would put him on. I put him on JSN all day.
Really?
Oh yeah, I put him on JSN because Lockett is not. He's not a threat to go 80 after he catches it.
Yeah.
I'm not. So wait. I think
Taryn's
one of your best.
You got to put a perimeter on DK. I'm putting Benford on DK, and I'm letting the two of them slap each other around all game. I'm going to put the wily veteran of Douglas on JSN. Just say, listen, do the best you can, right? Like the kid's an animal, but just manhandle him, right? Don't let him get off the line. You just need to manhandle him. I agree.
I don't think they're on Fant.
Something's gonna happen. No, I mean you'll probably end up with Dorian Williams in pass pro, which with pass with probably have Dorian Williams dropping for pass coverage, and that's concerning a little bit to me. I don't love him in pass coverage, right?
Yeah, the thing that worries me about that is the fact that the Seattle can run the ball very, very well when given a chance to, and Kenneth Walker is a monster and a load to bring down, and he could slow down any game that you're in.
Yeah.
So while the Buffalo Bills may be concerned with the leading passer in the NFL, he's just going to end up carving you up underneath for 4 or 5 yards a clip. And until you figure that out at halftime, it's not going to. Yeah, you got to make sure the game's just not out of hand at that point. But you're not playing at home. That's the problem.
Right. Well, Kenneth Walker's not the biggest guy. He's 5'9", 220, right?
Oh, he's a bowling ball, though.
But it's a bowling ball. And for a typically smaller framed linebacker group, that's a problem, right? Because if you can get past those defensive tackles, man, it's going to take two of them to bring them down. And that's where Seattle wins, right? Is they're not afraid to just say, listen, we're going to get a guy who's just really hard to bring down. We're going to just ride him for 4 yards a carry. And then we are just going to just try and throw it all over the field on you when, we know that you have trouble stopping Kenneth Walker. And again, his production's not amazing. So I don't want to make it sound like Kenneth Walker's some all-pro, once-in-a-generation running back. I certainly don't believe that.
4 yards a carry.
Right, but he's hard to bring down, and against an undersized. I can't. Oh God, I can't believe I'm saying undersized against people twice my size. Right, but in basically
different elements, Paul. Different elements. That's fine.
Yeah, and is this a game where maybe you see a little, Nick Morrow? Right, like do you?
You might.
What do you do there? Because I don't know if you could trust Dorian Williams in pass pro, and I don't think that you can depend on Terrell Bernard, as banged up as he has been. To just be able to single-handedly take care of Kenneth Walker.
I don't want to guard free releasing on Terrell Bernard at this point. But you're welcome for the comment.
Yeah, no. Garn. No AJ Klein. No AJ Klein.
Yeah, I could be there tomorrow, man. I was just packing up the RV with the kids. I'll be there tomorrow. See you in camp. That's hilarious.
So, Lamar, I think we're probably wrapping it up here at this point, right?
Yeah, I just want to do one really quick one.
Yeah.
For the people of the cheap seats. Okay, we'll only pick one position tonight.
Okay.
Given that Seattle is coming in, we did talk a lot about this, but I do want to have this real quick. Fix it or forget it. Obviously, last time we did this, we talked about the wide receiver position at length, and guess what?
Yeah, they fixed Amari Cooper. Yeah, they fixed it.
All right, fix it or forget it. The tight end situation for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, it's a thin room, right? I actually like Quentin Morris a lot more than I like Dawson Knox.
I do too.
Yeah, but Dawson Knox is Josh Allen's best friend. So politics be damned, Dawson Knox is going to be your tight end too.
I don't get
Buffalo. And Buffalo last year, they rostered on their practice squad a lot of tight ends.
They did.
I don't even know if they have one on the practice squad right now. Let me check the Buffalo Bills roster. I don't even think they have one on the practice squad right now. Let me double check that.
How bad was OJ Howard? That Dawson Knox, and they went and drafted another one.
OJ Howard cost you some money too.
It did. It wasn't like 1.8 or something like that.
It wasn't a ton, but I mean, it's money that you bet you wish you had now. You know, like, well, you don't spend it; it rolls over, right? So OJ Howard that cost you some money. So right now they have 3 rostered tight ends on this on the standard roster: Kincaid, Knox, and Quentin Morris. Again, I like Morris a lot more. And as of right now, they have on the practice squad 1 tight end, Zach Davidson. I did forget about Zach Davidson from Central Michigan, 6'7", 251.
Oh,
so big boy.
So yeah, bad news, guys. Dawson Knox has 2 voided years built into his deal, and he won't save you any money until 2026 when he's 30 years old.
Yeah, so, you're not moving. Yeah, you're not moving.
Get used to Dawson Knox.
Right, yeah, you're not.
So we can't even fix it if we wanted to, guys.
Yeah,
unless, well, I mean, okay, time out. Wait, hold on a second. Now they did take a $30 million bomb from Diggs.
Yeah,
right on the chin. Mm-hmm. So Bean has shown that he will do it if it serves a better purpose. Right. But if you want to talk about Dawson Knox versus Stephon Diggs as far as a locker room presence, obviously they're on both ends of the spectrum as far as that goes.
You know, I really expect now that you have Amari Cooper, because the Bills have had for most of the year had 4 wide receivers on their practice squad. They're finally down to 3 now. So it's KJ Hamler, Tyrell Shavers, and Jalen Virgil as the other wide receiver from Appalachian State. I would imagine you're probably going to see Jalen Virgil move out of that practice squad, because now that you've got Amari Cooper, you don't need to, you're not hoping to hang on to somebody and try and develop them. So you'll probably see them add another corner. They've only got 1 corner, and it's Hardy is the only corner
they may keep
on the practice squad.
They may keep him. So? I think they would, because they don't know past next year. You don't know if it's guaranteed you still have him.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it couldn't hurt. I mean, you're not going to cut him for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just not going to get rid of him for no reason.
And again, you've got Kareem Jackson just sitting there. And that one hurts me a little bit. I really like Kareem Jackson.
I know.
So that one hurts a little bit. That Kareem Jackson's just sitting there on the practice squad, but he's there for a reason, man. Like he's
true.
Yep.
True.
He's break glass in case of, you got some safety problems, but you're not playing Mike Edwards. Why are you going to play Kareem Jackson? You're not.
Mike Edwards tweeting out some fun stuff. So
yeah, hey, maybe something will shake up again. DeMar, there's a very good conversation about the level of contribution that DeMar is having, because I think when you watch film, you see a real timid player, and while that might skate for now, when the bye week comes, that you can't. You got 4 horses coming at you, off that bye week, and you can't play timid football. So that's got to change fast.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Edwards will get activated before the Chiefs game, just for fun.
I mean, right? I mean, and I'm glad that we're at a point with the offense where we're not, clamoring to get our cornerback kick returner involved in the offense. Right? Like I'm glad that thought hasn't happened yet, because I thought it was going to happen this week. Oh no, I was like watching the first half of this game. I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh, our kick returner is so dynamic. We got to get him involved in the offense. Oh man, how are we going to handle this? He doesn't even play. He's a corner. He doesn't play offense. He's a corner. So crazy. I was just preparing myself for that argument. I'm so glad the Bills put up enough points to where we don't have to continue that conversation. I am at some point expecting that to happen though.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Like that's going to happen.
It will. Yeah.
It's going to.
So, hashtag Nation Bills Mafia. Thank you for joining us for our hashtag sports presentation of the Buffalo Bills versus the Tennessee Titans post game, sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes. He is Paul. I'm Mario. And until we meet again, y'all have a great week.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always, God bless America, and go Buffalo!